Welcome to the first ever live episode of Due Diligence, a real estate podcast, and we're live, quarantined in my home in North Atlanta, South Sandy Springs, and I'm here with my restless quarantined colleague,
very restless, yes,
Lee Taylor.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 p.m. It's almost happy hour, Jason.
It is. It's almost happy hour.
This is our happy hour.
And
joyful time.
This is unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
First time ever. We haven't had any thought put into this. We just showed up and we're going.
Jason says he's ready. I know I am.
Well, we're excited because this is going to be the start of a new technology journey in live streaming. And for those of you that haven't seen us before, I'm Jason Wieloch, and I'm the fearless leader of the Wieloch Group at Compass Real Estate Professionals here in Atlanta. And I'm here with fellow real estate expert Lee Taylor. He's been in the business 20 years. I'm 11 years this month.
Fantastic.
And we're just here as seasoned veterans to give you all of the real estate news of the day in a normal market. That would mean...
it's the first week of spring.
Right. Time to list your house.
Right.
Well, we're in the midst of the coronavirus, so in a sense, the technology has fast-forwarded us into really what was always the dream of our future podcast, right?
Exactly. Yeah, Jason's had too much free time. He started buying tech equipment. Good job. Good job, youngster.
This is what happens when you're locked away. Got too much time on your hands. So what's been going on the last week, Lee? What are you seeing in the real estate market?
I got a house under contract in Marietta, and I've known Marietta for years. I know that place like the back of my hand. Great house for $410,000. That was a really good thing that happened this week. I've got 2 new seller appointments, and I was going to hit you with some really cool stats if you're ready.
Hit me.
I'm going to hear some stats. Let me pull up my camera because I got these.
Hit me with your stats.
I got these from the new Compass tool called Hot Sheet. And hot sheets are an old school real estate term for the most immediate activity. And I'm going to follow and call it the In-Town Atlanta Index. And I'm going to put this on Instagram and try to record it in other places. But it's going to be a 3-day report. And we're going to start with the index here in early April. The index right now says there's 274 actives that came on the market between the 6th and the 8th. There are 148 under contract. There are 34 sold and 67 expired or withdrawn. So those numbers go like this. The actives are at 421,000. The pendings are at 420,000. The sales are at a full 20% higher, at $500,000 on average. And the expireds are another 10% higher than that. So the moving market right now would say that the expired listings are almost 20 to 30% off on price right now. Just a big, wild look at it.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of adjustments coming in the market. I'm not sure, and that's not always just related to price, right? Activity.
This is in town, 9 FMLS areas.
Right. Well, what's interesting is we had this discussion this week with some of the principals at Compass about what are you seeing in the market? Well, it's really hard to measure change in real estate markets quickly, like financial markets, because the stock market can move quickly, rapidly. You can see what's happening. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we have to wait for comps to show up. One thing we do know, showings are down. Mm-hmm. We know that there's less people that will likely list right now. And I really think what's interesting is how the various markets within this market will diverge as a result of this, because what we're at least seeing in the short term, this isn't scientific, is we're seeing, I think, more of the middle markets move pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. It's 3 to 5, 600,000. It's pretty robust.
Yeah, there's 20 to 30% of the houses are moving in a week.
Which a lot of that has to, I think, lagging. There's demand there already.
Plenty.
There's been so much demand there. It's hard to shut that market off.
I keep calling it school district demand, and I really do believe that's what I'm seeing and speaking to the people who do want to look. I've got more going out this weekend. We could talk all about safety and everything else in this virus environment, about how we do it. However, there are people ready to go out and buy houses, and they're buying in school district type mentality.
Lee, if I had nothing else to do, I'd want to buy a damn house right now. It's, hey, honey, do you want to go to Publix or look at houses?
Yeah, and Jason, you got to have some empathy for a large other portion of the people who really are
Well,
not able to look at this as brightly as we can. I'm telling you, people are hurting out there right now.
and folks, we always want to add a little humor to this podcast. If you're
Yes, sir.
listening to the
Yes, sir.
first for the first time, real estate can be dry, so we try to keep it fun.
We do.
But we do want to have empathy right now because there's a lot of people in, especially the service businesses, that are suffering. And we're going to cover a few things real estate related today, but we're also going to talk about the reality of life in America changing super rapidly. We've been on this subject, but right now, a lot of businesses are on the clock. And every day that goes by is a day closer to a business not reopening. It started with restaurants. Many of them are going to die off, and many are very expensive to restart after being shut down. And so 1 month versus 2 months doesn't sound like a lot, but for places like that, it's potentially a killer. And I don't know if you saw that I had Justin Anthony live on
Amazing.
the Facebook page this week. He's one of my
10
favorite
Degrees South.
restaurateurs here in Atlanta, owns 10 Degrees South, Yabo, Biltong Bar, and he's fortunate in that I know he'll be back. Many are not as capitalized and built up as he is, and you know what he's doing? He's out there with Sarah Blakely from Spanx feeding healthcare workers.
That's really
at
cool.
the hospitals.
That's really cool. There's a lot of new charity that's happened centered on people, just like healthcare workers and first responders. It's been a very, very, very trying time for people who work in the health fields, and getting the right equipment and being safe has been paramount. But just having a good meal, they're working their asses off. That's really cool. And he talked to Jason Wieloch, and then he went and talked to Robert Mondavi. Isn't that like an hour later?
Yeah, I mean, Jason Wieloch followed by Robert Mondavi.
Yeah, right. He did.
I mean, at least I didn't have to follow Mondavi up.
Right.
So, one of the questions that we're getting, at least I'm getting, Leon, about you is, why would I want to be in the market right now? Why don't I just hang it up? Right. Well, if you're scared about being employed next month, yeah, you might want to pause. Right. If you're elderly or a senior person, probably not a good idea to be out for any reason. Sanjay Gupta has basically said, Dr. Fauci, all these folks, if you're a senior citizen, quarantine like you have the virus. Right.
Exactly.
But for those of us that have an opportunity to do this safely, Lee, why would you continue right now?
I would continue if, again, remember, there's 4 types of buyers, Jason. And the 4 types of buyers are the looky-loo who is not looking right now, and they're worth nothing in the market. Then there's the investor who should be in a powerful position to buy value right now. The investor who is smart. I'm getting emails from investors, calls from investors pitching me properties every single day, text. And wow, is there a lot of investor activity? Number one, we need to have a whole episode on all the categories of investing right now. Then there's the serious and in a hurry, and serious but not in a hurry. If you're serious and in a hurry, you want to get in a school district, go buy. If you want to be in a great neighborhood like Inman Park, go buy.
Yeah,
I got 12 houses coming on the market.
I mean, I don't want to set the expectation that you're going to have a decimated market within 3 or 4 weeks. So you're probably not going to get something 30, 40% off right now. If that happens, this is going to have to continue for a while. However, there will be a modest reduction. I think the reasonable expectation we've talked about is 5 or 10% when this is all said and done could happen. But again, it may not be applicable to all segments of the market.
Right.
Some segments of the market may just be that, but the reason to act would purely be the interest rates.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
going to talk about mortgages. Right?
We're going to talk about mortgages in a minute. But I did have a couple interesting stats to throw out today.
Throw me.
So one of my good friends here at the Towns of Chastain, the lovely neighborhood I'm in, she recently went to work for Equifax in a really high up role. And
Atlanta-based.
Once she's got her feet wet, she said she'll come on the show.
Cool.
Because she's in the mortgage and housing department. She's the CFO of that department.
Oh, wow. So that department
it's huge.
Does credit reporting for the mortgage banks
and they do analytics.
Lending companies. Yeah.
They do all kinds of things.
That'd be really cool.
So basically, they're they are so busy right now.
Of course.
Because banks are reaching out and are saying, we need to run analytics on default rates after this amount of time or in this risk profile or this particular, all kinds of information she's learning. So she already threw a couple things to me today.
Yeah.
Rumor is it that a certain large bank, and I'm not going to mention it because I'm not sure me too, is going to raise their minimum credit score to 700 in short order.
That's probably not a bad thing, Jason. And that will go for the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type of lending, I guess.
Yeah, I imagine that would be the case. It might be more stringent. I wouldn't be surprised if 720 is the standard for jumbo, right? By the way, jumbo, which folks, in case you aren't familiar, any loan above $510,000 is a jumbo.
Mm-hmm.
So
in Georgia.
Well, right, in sort of standard, if you will. Right. But that being said, there's not a lot of appetite right now for jumbo loans. So the standards are going to be really tough.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get too in the weeds on that, but she told me 700 plus. That's even in the 2008 recession, we didn't see 700 minimums on conventional. I mean, you'd see like 650 maybe, 660 at some points. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, she mentioned that the default rate or the non-pay. So in the previous month of February, 81% of renters paid on time. Just this last month, 69%.
Oh no, yeah. It's a very trying time for landlords and renters, and I'm familiar enough with some large commercial buildings, and my wife is involved in leasing lots of commercial space, millions of square feet, to about 2,400 tenants. And it's a very trying time for people who depend on retail and wholesale. And those kind of businesses and the trickle down of what happens to the residential tenant is really difficult. However, I've never seen a time in my life where I expected this much government largesse. It's amazing the amount of trillions of dollars being discussed. And if it's distributed fairly, and gosh, if Rush Limbaugh here will go, fairness. This isn't about fairness, but if it is truly about fairness, how do you make it fair? How does everyone get?
Lee, we should have a word of the day every podcast. Largesse.
Yes.
Please define largesse.
Largesse is the act of government blessing the people with money. And that's pretty much what largesse is.
Well, there's a lot of money coming down too, because the stimulus package, by the way, they may have to refund that thing quickly because it's rapidly being depleted. And large banks, do you know that the business stimulus package, BOA, I know, and a couple of the other large banks, within 24 hours of the portal opening, had capped applications because I think there's a certain amount per bank. So you can't lend for now. But this stimulus is gonna far surpass anything from the financial crisis, and who would have thought?
Yeah, and I'm reading what largesse is. It's generosity in bestowing money or gifts upon others, money or gifts given generously. And the main thing that's being questioned, and you know who Robert Kiyosaki is, right?
Yes.
Did you see what he said this week?
No.
Get into silver, get into Bitcoin, get into metals, get into maybe real estate. He not enthusiastic about that either. But he mentions it because there's a capital issue right now. I mean, we really have to look at currency and capital and go, what is it really worth to print this much money when it comes down to it in the next 100 years? It's really, really a strange time.
If there's a reason to invest in real estate, it's the default rate on tenant payments.
And then
that will eventually lead to landlords wanting to be more liquid. Again, what's so hard, I was talking to my friend who's with Equifax, how do you model something out where you have so many unpredictable layers?
Right.
You almost have to model it based on, does social distancing last 2 weeks more? Because there's all these various crescendos that'll happen at levels of the economy. And it's really starting at the bottom, the service level. That's what's so interesting about this particular scenario, because a lot of times it's top down. A lot of times, right? Here it's the workers in the restaurants
Right.
and people that clean
people
houses.
depend on,
like,
yeah.
service level stuff ends first, but then it slowly trickles to the high paying guy getting laid off. I don't know if it's yes. There's
It's
already
happening.
it is happening.
It happened at Delta 3 weeks ago at 40%.
You know what I saw in Italy, that in the southern part of Italy, there was approximately a 20% unemployment rate prior to this. They're saying it's maybe like 40 right now. And they already had, so, you know, the thing about Italy that's interesting, I've been there before, but I had never read into it like this, was that the southern part of the country is way less industrialized, and it's a lot of seasonal workers that work essentially now.
Calabria.
This is
down
the
that
6
way.
months of the year that a lot of them work for tourist season, and then they sort of, like gig workers, they take time off. So because they're not in the economy like normal workers, a lot of them aren't even eligible for government allocated stimulus. So they're saying actually starvation could be an issue in some cases. And I read that like behavior in some cases was starting to change in people.
Technology can solve the world hunger issue. And
Sure.
I think in many ways it is. It's about distribution, though, right? So if it's something that they haven't found a way over in Italy, I know other nations are going to have to start to depend on each other. We're going to have to depend on other countries to believe in our capital, our currency, and the strength of the United States coming back better than ever. Those kind of things are preeminent right now as this revaluation of what America is and what currency is and how we trade and how we do things. Everything's different right now.
America.
So
I was just looking at this Market Watch article, and it's basically the mortgage topic. We've been on it for a couple minutes.
I had a long talk with a lender today. With Libby
Quiner. She's like a mortgage rate broker. She's like watching them.
She's really smart.
And she's like a day trader of rates. She's like, lock now. Lock now, lock. Anyway, so I'm reading here that the rates are nearing record lows, but home buyers may face an uphill battle in securing them.
Indeed.
And this kind of goes back to that subject of minimum credit scores. So I know there was a couple portfolio programs that were just dropped this week. And even if you were under contract at some lenders, they said, sorry, you're declined because we're no longer continuing your loan program.
Yeah.
Now, that wouldn't happen with conventional. Conventional lending will not discontinue. But in the high, so here's where you can really affect the high end of the market with the mortgage crunch, is because so many of the loans are creative and portfolio driven. Investors, their appetite dries up for them. Like basically, we call them bank statement loans in the business,
right? But
they essentially use, instead of your tax returns, if you're a business owner, 2 years of those, right? To qualify you based on cash flow. Well, there's no investor left that'll buy those right now, because they know that all the people that they're lending to own the businesses. Right. And there was a transaction our team had, Lindsay Kessler, I felt horrible for her, and her seller, who is elderly, that was under contract to sell, and literally the lender just sent a termination or a declaration letter, not doing the loan because we can't sell it to anybody.
You know, any good salesperson, any professional, I've been in professional sales since 1988, and you're going to find a way to solve this problem. You're going to call your buddy at the next company over if you have to and refer them out. But God, that should never happen to a professional. It pisses me off.
Yeah, but nobody's offering them.
Hey, I'm a problem-solving salesperson, and if I can't solve it, I know someone who can.
I agree with you, and we called, Lindsay and I teamed up and talked to multiple lenders.
It's not about you guys. I'm talking about that damn lender.
Well, what's the lender going to do?
Solve problems.
Well,
get creative. Find another bank. I don't know.
And that's the thing. All of the banks there's not 1,000 banks that do these loans that they can broker them to.
Okay.
It's a limited resource.
I guess the next thing is, how much more money can you put down? You know, and that comes down to those kind of loans. Can you put more money down?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to see where things shake out in the next couple of weeks. But I think that I wouldn't be playing with fire, because I would lock your rate if it's hovering in that below the 5 range right now. And I mean, that's the reason to stay in this thing.
What do you think a hard money lender would do with rates? Right? I haven't looked, but
I don't know if I even do hard money lending right now.
35% down.
Who's going to do hard money lending right now?
I don't know. People need cash and capital for projects so they can move forward and get a flip done, typically.
All right, we'll check it out. So unless it's a new construction project that's going to take a few months, if I was a hard money lender and I was looking at something that's a 60, 90-day renovation right now, man, I would be super careful about.
I would too.
I think
I want a tight professional operation.
Yeah, I mean, I think short-term flip hard money is. I don't have enough education on this, but I would imagine it's drying up quickly.
Well, it's got to be good, like the kind of construction I'm bringing on the market in Pittsburgh. It's got to be that good. And when it's that good, these lenders will lend.
Lee, you bring nothing but gold to the market.
Damn right.
It's like that's
right.
That's the end of the story right there. All right, LT. Let's talk about. We've talked about mortgages. There's a lot to talk about. You know what? Let's talk about a subject that I meant to bring to everyone's attention on the last podcast, but we ran out of time.
Okay.
Because we were just having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And
what a joy to be with you, Jason.
Yeah. Right. Here in fellowship on the
yes, here in fellowship.
We're here below the Mason-Dixon line, live on YouTube for the first time.
All right, let's move on from this tawdry attempt at humor.
Yes. Technology. Have you ever heard of technology?
We've got technology and culture.
Right. So here's the deal. Everyone talks about technology, I think, in a very, in platitudes. Mm-hmm. That's the word, right? Compass has the best tech. Keller Williams has the best tech. Whoever's got all the tools. I do think Compass has the best vision for tech, no doubt. Has anything groundbreaking happened from a technology standpoint that's going to be a game changer? Not yet.
It's a game changer for agents. It's the best app tool ever for agents.
Yes. So from it's the first search platform to ever truly come close to competing with a Zillow or a Redfin in terms of quality.
Indeed.
Right?
And now's our time to move up to number 2, Mr. Redfin.
So my point is, given that a lot of things have been on the horizon within the agent community, I think the mindset of a lot of Compass agents who are very forward-thinking in the technology space, entrepreneurial, there is a lot of things now coming quickly, more rapidly than we would have expected. For instance, the whole team probably wonders if I'm losing my mind because I have been at home and I'm just popping out all these tech ideas to everybody that we're going to implement. Well, the reality is I didn't just think up this stuff. I was telling Christina, our ops manager, the other day, who's been working so hard to help me, that many things we were hoping to do 2 to 3 years from now to assist home buyers and sellers, we're bringing forward now.
Right.
Because A, we don't have any other choice, and B, it'll probably change the market forever.
Right.
When we come out of this. Virtual services is what I'm talking about. It is a piece of the tech puzzle that agents can implement. And so this week, we, for the first time, relaunched our website with virtual services. And we now have the ability, if you want to talk to me or Lee, you'll have a note you can drop.
I like the app. I saw the interface. That was cool.
So folks,
30 minutes, 1 hour, just book me.
I mean, hell, if you want to talk to us about the selling process and have, whether it's a truly formal consultation or even if you want to have a quick 15-minute chat, now on the website you can go and we have a link where you can see an open calendar, book a time, and it will integrate with Zoom and you and us, and we'll come on and talk to you. And here's the good news: it doesn't have to stop. With the Zoom meeting. Lee, what are some of the things that you're seeing technology-wise to sell homes? Because we're already implementing some of them.
Well, Compass has the lighted sign. I want to see more of those in Atlanta. I think they look pretty cool. I think anything having to do with home technology is probably the coolest part for me, because agents themselves are the fullest extension of whatever their tools are. And I have something in my pocket. It's a Leatherman tool.
Have you
I
ever
have a
been called a
Leatherman
tool?
tool in my pocket. Yes, I've been called a tool. You know what else is in my pocket? Listen, I was going to bring out the Leatherman tool as an example. It's got 8, 9, 12 different kinds of knives and scissors on it. That's the kind of thing where an agent has one really good platform like Compass. I really believe it's about the nimbleness of the agent right now, because people depend on us to give them good advice. And as such, we need to be able to tap into immediately the best, latest, greatest. And I really believe Compass is delivering that.
Well, I'll use some specific examples in the here and now. One is 3D tours.
Those are cool.
You guys may or may not have heard of Matterport. Mm-hmm. It's been sort of a fringe technology that has been used at times, but now we're introducing it as a standard piece of all of our listings.
Yeah, I love it.
You can walk right into the home as if you're there and go through it room by room, every angle, like you're walking
It's
right?
the way to go.
You could 100% understand to scale a property that you're purchasing in this manner. So we're implementing that. We also are now implementing virtual showings, meaning, and I'll tell you who's really been lighting it up in this category is David.
Yeah.
David
Tell me,
Lahan.
how's he doing?
He is showing so many homes via FaceTime. Think about a future in which your agent, think about when you have homes that you are interested in, but your agent goes on the showings and you're sitting at home eating your frozen pizza or whatever while you watch 10 home showings. And then guess what? In many cases, you'll probably eliminate 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
Maybe you only go see 2 homes to make a decision. I think
that's great. And David is so charming. I would, spend 4 hours with him on the phone, on FaceTime.
4 hours. I don't know. I don't think David keeps them on the phone between houses.
Oh, well, people would want to keep me on the phone.
Oh, and we're doing virtual open houses now.
I want to hear about that. I haven't done one. I'm kind of like skeptical.
I haven't either.
I'm skeptical.
Well, you're just a skeptic anyway. You've always been a skeptic.
But it sounds like, what is it, FaceTime type of tours, or what is it? How's it done? What's the platform?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you've got agents that are loading up at the, with technology, these open houses, and people can join. I'm only surmising. It's similar, where there's a link up and you join and have a tour with the agent.
Okay.
It's probably one by one. But that is a way that you could tour a home in the future. Now, I think that open houses virtually probably are going to be more unique to right now because it's really just the personality there.
Well, I think
Matterport takes care of the virtual open house on your own, right?
Yeah. I really think that Matterport is so powerful. I am going to attend some agent's virtual open house sometime this weekend. So when y'all hit me up, I want to see what y'all do with this. Because I'm out showing properties, Jason. I'm actually in properties with gloves, a mask, and sanitizer, and Lysol wipes. And I'm rocking it.
I always...
People need my help. We do it.
I always knew that I would see you out in the field with masks and gloves on at some point.
That's technological. I've got one of I had N95 mask in a plastic box in my storage room.
Have you been stuffing this equipment away, waiting for this?
I'm not a what do they call it, a survivalist, or what's the other word for those people who have everything ready?
Right, preparing for
preps.
Like nuclear warfare.
Yeah, I'm not that. I just happen to collect things over the years, and I keep them in neat boxes.
All right, Lee. Well, let's move on to extended due diligence. Folks, it is the final segment of our show. If this is the first time you're watching, well, it's the first time everybody's watching or listening, we just cover a quick topic that whatever the hell we feel like, basically.
I want to cover?
What do you want to cover?
I want to tell you the most viral idea we can come up with. You got to have some guts, though. We need to do a shirtless podcast.
No.
Shirtless.
I don't know, Lee. I think I don't know if I may not be quite the aged Cabernet needed for that.
Maybe I'll just do a shirtless one.
Right. Well, I will certainly pan the camera to me the whole time if you choose to do that.
Well,
all right. Any extended due diligence thoughts for our lovely listeners?
I think take us up on our offer for the virtual appointment and using Zoom as a great platform. I like having conversations with FaceTime. Jason and I are available every single day. We can always take calls, and the rest of our team is ready to serve. And I don't mean to be too cavalier with the way we're approaching sales right now. It's a very trying time, and a lot of people are going through things that are going to transform them, as it says, hopefully for the better.
Oh, Lee.
Look at that. Did you
I
jam
just
us?
had,
You just
you
jammed
can
us.
believe it,
What?
I accidentally put our...
I like it. Keep it on.
You like that? That's
Yeah.
like our exit.
Let's say
music.
something about Steve Stone. Steve Stone from Cumulus Media. He produced that track. He is our when he cuts the podcast, he'll have our lead-in bumper music. If you haven't listened to us before, thank you for coming to YouTube.
Yeah, in the future we're gonna learn how to do this on YouTube. I basically learned how to live stream a podcast in the last week, so I appreciate it. But I will leave everybody on this thought. Real estate aside, take the time to look left and right this week and every week to see who may be in more need than you.
Yep.
I think that we can't emphasize the point enough that I know us at the Wieloch Group, we love Atlanta. And I know that we love our families and our friends, and there's always people that are weaker and have it worse. So see who you can help today, and take the time also while we're stuffed away in quarantine to grow your mind and read some books and expand your horizons. I generally don't have the kind of time allocated. As Americans, we're always running this rat race. So. Yeah. That's my final thought.
I want to know, what are you doing tonight, Jason?
I am going to grill some steaks and hang out and just enjoy this beautiful weather.
I got the big green egg out last night. I'm going to watch The Grateful Dead on YouTube with my wife. We're going to dig it. We're going to boogie. You get that? We're going to boogie.
There's something wrong with you, man.
Nah. Hey, thanks for getting this technology out. This is a really cool move,
folks,
Jason.
I'm sitting here with real estate expert Lee Taylor. I'm an expert, I guess, as well, Jason Wieloch. And
you are indeed an expert. You've done really well for yourself in 11 years, young man.
And again, we're here on behalf of the Wieloch Group at Compass every week, and we want to bring you great content. So tell us how we can better ourselves so that we can better this podcast and make it better for you in the coming years, because we're going to be live for the foreseeable future.
Weekly.
All right, everybody.
See you guys.
Have a great week.
You put the track on. That was cool.